welcome to Load Bearing Beams. I'm Matt Stokes.
I'm Lacey Roth.
This is a podcast where we talk about movies with the one we love.
I'm the one he loves.
I love you.
Okay.
I said it's sweeter before we started recording. This is all an act where we act like we're cantankerous, cranky people. Off mic, we're just like, love, I'm lovey for you, love. You know what I'm saying? You don't like that I revealed that.
I don't like that you would say such a thing.
If you can't podcast with the one you're with,
love the
podcast with the one you love. So that's what we're doing.
Okay.
And we watch a movie that the other person has not seen, and we talk about it on the podcast. There's more to it than that, simple. But who gives a fuck?
Okay.
Today's movie is Network from 1976. If you don't care about that movie or you've never seen it, Lacey, what can you do?
You could watch it. Oh, you could go to the library of other movies we've reviewed and find one you do give a shit about it, then listen to our brilliance on that topic.
Where can you go to find that library?
They can go to loadbearingbeans.com/video or some bullshit.
/movies.
That's the same thing.
Wouldn't you agree that when you're directing somebody somewhere on the internet, you should direct them to the right place?
Oh, okay. You want me to participate in the bashing of me? I'm not doing it.
So yeah, find a movie that you like and listen to that episode. You'll like it. I promise. Lacey's taking out.
Find an episode that you like.
Find an episode that you like and you'll like it.
That's guaranteed.
Hey, I'm not wrong. No, find a movie that you're interested in that you like and listen to us talk about that. And then maybe
I decoded the message.
Once you've listened to all the episodes where we talk about movies that you've seen or you're interested in, you'll start listening to the other movies episodes because you just want to hear us talk about stuff. And also, most of the episodes, it's kind of like 40% movie talk, 60% us complaining about stuff.
I hate gel pens. Just fucking stupid.
Breach.
They look great.
Lacey's about to go on an epic rant about gel pens, guys. Buckle up.
I'm just saying air bubbles. Like, why would you even create a contraption that has one job to write smoothly, but then put a bunch of, like, little mines in there for you to discover while you think you're flowing? You think you're writing a full thing, and then
you're so smart because I never know what kind of pen I'm using, and I know that sounds patronizing, but like I'm an idiot. I don't know what a gel pen is.
Well, because just your typical Bic, it doesn't have these issues. Fucking gel pens. It's so stupid. I thought it was a fad, but it's lasted. Anyway.
All right. Well, we didn't have a podcast last week, and I'm sorry about that. We had 2 hurricanes bearing down on us, and
they both went by, but that doesn't mean you don't have to fucking prepare like they're not, because we live in a soup bowl called Louisiana.
Because we're fucking idiots.
We're not well, we are, but you know how hard it would be to move our entire support system? It's not just like, you know what we should do, pack and leave. It's like, okay, and everyone else we know?
Yeah, I know. But every year I do feel like a fucking idiot.
Yes.
And like...
To be fair, you often feel like a fucking idiot.
I grew up here. When I was a kid, it wasn't like this. There weren't 3 hurricanes every summer. There was like 1 maybe every few years. This was not... we have so many hurricanes now, or like hurricane scares.
Well, don't you think it's also... because now that we've seen what happens when one actually hits, we're all like, okay, for realsies, Katrina-ish happening.
Sure. When
global warming.
Before Katrina, both Lacey and I know, for all you non-people from Louisiana, and the majority of our listeners are actually in France, so we'll teach the French about this.
French Quarter, so they know. They get it.
You get it. But before Katrina, when a hurricane came, that was like, ooh, fun. We'll get a few days off of school. Maybe we'll take a trip to Grandpa's house, but then we'll come back and nothing will have happened. And it was even kind of a joke, and you'd make fun of how insane the newscasters were going.
Because they pulled Nash out of the basement. This guy that he's in a place in the studio of the newsroom that is not well lit. So I just assume he's in a basement, and he doesn't get like graphics. He had a chalkboard, and I remember when he advanced to a dry erase board, I felt happy for him. So they'd go, now we're going to go to Nash, and maybe
Nash's first or last name. I don't know because I don't know.
I think it was his last.
I only remember Bob Breck.
Yeah,
and that's only because my dad uses Bob Breck to stand in for all weather people.
Your dad is like
gonna have to watch Bob Breck. Well, okay, so yeah, they'd get angry at how much the people, the news people on TV were enjoying the hurricane, how exciting they were. Of course, now we have a president who like live tweets the hurricane. He's like, wow, so powerful, epic ratings.
I really should hire it.
This storm you haven't seen a storm like this.
I need Laura on my staff. She'd clean house.
And that was good.
I feel appreciated. Continue.
So people would take a lot of pride. Like, oh, fuck, I didn't take the hurricane seriously. And look, nothing happened to me and I came out ahead. I didn't leave. I didn't evacuate. I didn't spend a lot of money on hurricane supplies like you suckers did. Uh-huh. And now who's the winner?
Like a child, though. I mean, you're just describing someone who didn't have to pay for anything or do anything or think about anything. I mean, you weren't an adult until after Katrina. What? I'm just saying it also aligns with you having a home.
Who's the you? I'm talking about a sort of generalized attitude toward hurricanes before Katrina. Then Katrina came and the default attitude toward hurricanes changed a little bit. It was like, oh, fuck, hurricanes, they'll kill you.
Yeah, I guess I don't feel like I had a nonchalant family, but that's because my dad was in Grand Isle. Every hurricane matters when you live on the coast.
Yeah, I mean, he lived in the ocean, basically. In it. Yeah, he lives in the place where the hurricane goes first.
A whale farts and it floods.
Exactly. So that happened last week. And then also, well, the hurricanes were last week, and
That's it.
You have to bring in all your shit from outside.
You have a lot of shit outside.
You get the kids ready to lose power because we can't leave. There's nowhere for us to go, and we have an autistic child who would not do well going to a different house. And I don't blame him.
Right.
This is the place he feels safe and comfortable.
He's just expressing what we all feel.
Exactly. He's thinking what we're all saying. And so we had to do all that. And then also the world is just coming apart. And I'm just kind of feeling existential despair all the time. I think Trump's going to win the election.
Yeah, I was going to say you felt this way in 2016.
I was so confident Trump was not going to win in 2016.
You had plenty of nights where you were acting really fucking weird about it.
Oh, but it was always like, I can't believe how bad it's gotten that the Republican Party has nominated this man. I never for 1 second thought he was going to win. Yeah. And all the media sources that I turned to at the time to comfort me, I still turn to, and they still comfort me. And now it just pisses me off because I feel comforted. And then I'm like, wait, hey.
You and everybody else.
That good one?
I'm just saying, I mean, we all thought we knew, and then we were turned out to be wrong. So you have more dread now.
Well, right. But you just said that this is the exact same thing I did 4 years ago. That's not true at all.
Okay, fine. You're always telling me how the world's about to end.
The world is not about to end, and the world has certainly been worse before, and the United States has certainly been worse before, and fascism has always been a thing lurking in every country and anywhere where things are hard, where there are class and ethnic divides, and those things can be activated pretty easily. What are you writing?
I'm drawing this hell beast.
Oh.
I don't know why.
You were writing an epic rebuttal to.
Oh yeah, I always write it down. Don't want to get it wrong, off the cuff. Not good enough for this.
So I wanted to, when we return to our podcast, I wanted to find a movie that I thought might help us work through some of these anxieties I have, because they really are all based in media. And you read a book. I read a book, people.
Okay, asshole, fuck nut. I'm saying you read a book that very much influenced the movie you picked.
Yeah, well, I've for some reason been very into learning about television history recently, and in the history of the history. Lacey's being such an asshole, but not. You can't hear it. She's just making faces and like me. I'm mad. She's practicing her signature. We don't have to do this.
No, we do. We do. Go
on. Learning about the history of television and the weird way that that networks are structured, the affiliates work, the syndication packages, for just I don't even know why, but I think I get up, I wake up in the middle of the night, I can't sleep, and I read Wikipedia articles about broadcasting and stuff, and it soothes me. And so this led me to reading a few books about the history of TV and about the history of news, and then just analyses of our current moment and how the media is fucking destroying us all. And I have both always been, I'm a lefty who's always been like, well, Fox News, there's no Fox News of the left. Like MSNBC is not anywhere near as bad as Fox. I've changed my mind. I think it's just as bad. It's just bad in a different way.
I feel like you've discovered something that is so obvious that neither of us thought before you read this book that it makes me uncomfortable how it really is. Like, well, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't 24-hour news be just as bad as any kind of clickbait? Everything's a cliffhanger. Everything is a teaser, or everything. Just the names of the things are just, I'm going to give you just enough for you to come right back, and then you'll have the full story, and it'll be worth fucking nothing by the time you know the whole picture. You just will have come back, and that's all I need you to do. The
secret is everything that you're watching is just stuff to get you to keep watching.
And
it's like a Netflix binge. You have to keep watching.
Just how little substance can be at the core of what takes up an entire 30 minutes to talk about is fucking depressing. It's all potatoes and no meat. You know, it's just like,
yes,
here's a nugget of something.
Yes,
and
generally true.
Build around it.
I mean, yes, you're saying in general, you just get a lot of bullshit fluff.
And conjecture and people having opinions about it.
People going back and forth with the same,
the same fake, expression of concern.
Yeah.
The faces are the hardest to watch. And so I did a webinar this week. I recorded a pre-recorded presentation that's going to be shown at a conference. And they pre-record them for obvious reasons. There's going to be lots of sessions in a row. So technical stuff takes a really long time, and the more panels you have, the harder it is. So I was thinking pre-recorded, good, I can fuck up and it's no big deal. No, that's not right. It's pre-recorded. They do not give you, they just say you would screw up in a regular presentation too, so just keep going with it. We don't take it out in post. We literally just do this so that it flows from your presentation easily to the next presentation. And I had to sit. I didn't realize how often I touch my hair. I touch my face. I stare at my own image. I knew I stared at myself in a Zoom. And how much I switch my position in my chair, how much I take sips of water. Like, none of the other 7 panelists fucking moved. And I'm staring at myself, trying not to make a weird face, trying not to angle my head weird. And anyway, it's just...
You're doing all that, and you're also expected to say important things of substance,
and to look directly into the camera,
and then the person who gets comfortable doing all that has to be a psychopath. How could they be good?
That was my whole point. That's what we were watching Network last night, and when I realized that the person who counts, the producer, whoever counts the person in, to let them know they're about to start being live, they start from 20, and just that 20 seconds of being like. You can't see what I'm doing, but just not being weird
of the person on camera being still,
because they have all that footage that you see where there's graphics overlaid, or there's some sort of announcement happening, or it's a fade in from a commercial. But there's all this screen time where you can see the person even if they're not broadcasting the news to you. So it's you're very much in a fishbowl. Don't fart. Don't pick your nose, because from the time they start counting down from 20, be normal. Even if you're not speaking.
I worked in the TV biz for a while. True. I produced a TV show and wrote a TV show, a cable access show. Well, it was a PBS show, actually. It's not just cable access. But it was so awkward. Yeah, there's the person who's on camera is in the studio. All the producers are in a different room or in the edit bay or whatever. And we're giving him directions and talking to him. And yeah, he just has to smile and look in, and never knows when somebody's going to pop into his ear to...
Right. Be less nasal, John.
Yeah, be better. Hey, could you not be shitty?
You're pronouncing the word... Well, I couldn't think of a word, but don't sound so condescending.
It was interesting to... That experience was interesting. It was for a local PBS affiliate in New Orleans that has since dropped its PBS license. for monetary reasons.
You have a license to make free stuff?
To be a licensed affiliate of PBS.
Oh.
So I think you can still license individual content. Like you can still play Sesame Street if you pay a fee to PBS, but you can't have the PBS logo on your station thing, and you can't just carry.
So what is it
you
now?
Can't carry any PBS. It's just an independent station, WLE in New Orleans. But when they learned, okay, the old model of news, the family will sit down or whatever, or your news will be 30 minutes or an hour each night, and that'll be it. And since there's only 3 channels, we're going to be talking to like 100 million people. So we're going to get lots and lots of different kinds of people. So we have to be as like bland and inoffensive as we can, and objective and high-minded. And all those ideas were always bullshit, but they perhaps led to
competing for the same giant slice of people, right? That's why you have to be just different enough from your competitors, but not any kind of outrageously different, or else you risk losing a majority.
And so when CNN, Fox News in the 90s, MSNBC learned that actually you can get people to watch for way longer if you tell them things that they want to hear, or that you tell them things that align with what they think.
So you get more advertising hours, but less people at a time.
You get more loyal and repetitive viewers,
but you get
who stay longer and longer
of selling ads rather than peak time selling ads.
And your advertisers are like, okay, I know exactly who I'm selling to.
That's true. It makes it easier to make a commercial.
Thus, this is why you get the boner pills on Fox News or golf magazines or. Right.
Or doesn't even need them.
On MSNBC, it's a commercial with Lawrence O'Donnell selling you, index funds. While he's talking with his very dignified son in a restaurant. Are you securing your financial future, son?
I'm totally secure as yours, Father. How's yours?
It's not. I'm not. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just feel like an idiot when I look at a website like the New York Times or Vox or whatever, and every story headline, and I'm like, yeah, totally. That seems like something I believe. I do start to feel like a fucking rube. Is like I was selected to see these stories, or these stories were selected exactly for me. It's like the Miranda Priestley thing in Devil Wears Prada, where she's like to Anne Hathaway, she's like, you're wearing that Goodwill bargain bin sweater.
No, nothing is curated at Goodwill, sir. Bargain basement. Bargain bin.
But it was you think that you're wearing a shirt that you picked to signify to the world, I don't care about fashion. Right. But actually, very smart people selected that sweater for people like you.
Right.
And Lacey and I, and other fucking lefty bleeding hearts, were selected to be viewing all these stories on Vox and the New York Times, and to listen to the podcasts where they're talking only about things that we agree with, and then commercials for the Doha debates and, Qatar or the United Arab Emirates. And you're like, this isn't strange at all that these advertisements are paid for by Gulf oil states or whatever. Like,
because they know how much we like those? Just kidding.
It gets you acclimated to the idea that these are good companies. These are good countries.
Would they want to be on
the fact that Save America all exists as product. It's all inventory. It all exists to sell.
We're all being bought by overlords, no matter what avenue we take while purchasing.
Exactly. It's all just to deliver you to advertisers, and then also, if you're on the internet, to deliver your browsing behavior and your data and all your personal information to sell to other people. And it's not like there's some more nefarious reason.
What do you recommend, Matt?
I don't have an answer. I have no idea. I think that the book Hate Inc. by Matt Taibbi, and Matt Taibbi is a very controversial guy, and I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but he says, like, the thing that the news will convince you to do is that the worst thing you could do is turn off the news.
Yeah.
And people feel
you're addicted to it. I mean, you're addicted to your Twitter feed like that.
People feel like, no, it's good. I'm doing the responsible thing. I'm informing myself. I'm being.
Oh, yeah. You get to be moral about it.
Yeah. When in fact, you don't need to be that engaged. I don't know what the balance is. I think it is responsible to be informed, but how does one get informed? I don't fucking know.
I'll tell you how I do. Okay. I listen to 10 minutes of news, and the way I got used to this is because I liked when I could come downstairs in the morning when I was pregnant for whatever reason, and I'd ask Alexa what the news was, and she'd have 10 minutes of it for me. And then another day I was like, I missed 10 minutes of news. It seemed like just enough. And NPR does a Up First podcast, and it's just the headlines.
Yeah.
I love that.
But even then, it's like, okay, so somebody decided these are the most important stories for Lacey to hear.
Well, no, they're literally the headlines of every major newspaper.
So these are the stories that are most important for people of the world to hear. Yeah. And of course, that's going to be a very narrow range of things that you're going to hear about.
It's the people of the world.
It's things that are acceptable to advertisers. You're not going to hear on MSNBC, the liberal channel, like, never has people who are critical of capitalism, who advocate for anything that's threatening to Comcast, which owns MSNBC, or to any of the advertisers. And so, like, the window of acceptable things there is to talk about is sort of artificially small. And as a result, we're all artificially small.
So they just get us hating people and ideas rather than
the system.
Industry and
right,
like they you know what, focus on each other.
Yeah, the problem is
stupid is that guy.
Exactly. You know what the problem is? People who love Trump, fuck them, they're idiots.
What are their flags
Don't they get it?
Waving them around. Right.
And
not, you know what maybe we should do? Yeah, because I mean, the bottom line is we should probably turn off the TV a little bit.
Yes, but if we did, we wouldn't see the commercials. Also, if we're emotionally activated, we're more susceptible to advertising.
I'll buy that damn Viagra pill because I'm so impotent from rage.
Mm-hmm. So Network. This is a movie from 1976.
That
it was directed by Sidney Lumet.
Seen before, and it was called Broadcast News. So I had not.
Yeah, you said I've seen it before, and then we started watching it. And you're like, "Isn't this a comedy with like a nice romantic movie?"
When it immediately started, I'm like, "I have never seen this." So yeah.
I loved this movie in high school, in college too. I had not seen it since college. I remember studying it in a film class, and this reputation is. Wow, this was so prescient. It had so many the things that it satirized are now real in our world, but our world's gotten much weirder too.
I didn't feel like it was satire. Maybe it is too much like, yeah. I guess maybe it may have felt more like satire at that time.
Yes.
I feel like that's why it held up, was because like it's still a little too over the top, but doesn't feel so ridiculous.
So what are you thinking of anything in particular?
Yeah, I guess the fact that part of the nightly show that they come up with for this one broadcaster is completely based around him having bipolar manic episodes, and the way he ends every show is by fainting from exhaustion of his psychosis. And that's when they end the show. I guess that's a bit over the top.
Yeah. Well, and at the time when people would not be movie-going audiences are used to Walter Cronkite and very stiff, starched older white men just sitting there and calmly reading stories to you, this would have seemed wildly over the top.
Well, and the cursing on news seemed very, I feel almost prudish. Like, they couldn't say bullshit. You can't say mad as hell.
I think that, so the story shown in the movie is this veteran newscaster is fired for low ratings, and then he goes on the air and says, I've been fired and I'm going to kill myself. And then that gets them a bump in the ratings. So they're like, oh, this guy's on to something. So they keep putting him on to say silly things, nutty things that will get people talking and watching.
But it's clear from very early on, he's having a psychotic breakdown, like he's sick and he needs help.
It's clear to us. I don't know that anybody in the movie recognizes that. He recognizes like, hey, you need to...
He says you need clinical help. He tries to get him to get help, but that's after he's kind of seen it for what it is.
Well, I just thought it was interesting. You said like this man has bipolar disorder, whereas I think that the attitude of like
in the movie.
William Holden in the movie is just like he's exhausted. He needs some help.
I mean, he clearly is bipolar.
Yeah. Well, how so?
Well, he.
What is bipolar?
The clinical definition, but I mean, there's two different kinds, and one is, like a moderate baseline, how you usually are, and then you have manic episodes where you might lose a lot of weight, it feels really good. There's a feeling of euphoria. You might spend a whole lot of money. You might have sex with a lot of different people. You might get out of a relationship you've been in for a long time. You make huge choices that seem erratic usually. You might set fire to something. You might, it comes with this like huge wave of confidence and a feeling that you get some kind of big profound truth about the world and everything's connected and everything's okay and you're a Buddha and you're like, and one of my best friends growing up would have these from time to time, and she'd lose all kinds of weight and would be so fucking happy, but it was like she was so happy she'd cry, and it was just very disturbing.
Sounds very exhausting to be around.
Yeah. But that's why it's so hard to treat, because they feel so good when that's happening. And then when those symptoms go away, then they just feel a little depressed, a little bit down, but just kind of normal. So they're just not very motivated to treat it, because one of it just feels blah, and I'm not motivated because I'm kind of depressed, and the other one feels fucking awesome.
So it's not like you have the equal amount of depression on the other side?
No.
Then what is that, manic depressive?
Yeah.
That's what that is?
Mm-hmm. And then the other kind of bipolar, I believe, is that baseline and then big dips down. So that's the bad kind.
Oh.
I mean, they're both bad. Yeah. Both of them are really, what is the word I'm looking for? They're just really disruptive and really hard to keep good relationships, and really, I mean, literally you blow your life up like every 6 months. I don't know. It's probably more spread out than that.
Yeah,
but.
And it's why until recently Pier 1 imports existed.
What? Because
and divorces.
No, my mom did the divorce part all because of her big manic episode. What did she spend? She spent $7,000 or something at Pier 1?
Yeah. Well, no, it's a store. It's like, hey, come in, buy your new life. You can do it.
Well, I mean, it's just funny. You picked the actual store. My mom did have a fucking
Well, that made me
episode.
aware of what this store actually is. That's definitely what they're selling to people, is buy a new life.
Well, why would it be a new life, not just a new room?
Because that's what a new room is. It's a new life.
Oh, okay, Matt.
Yeah, I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Howard Beale. He's played by Peter Finch. Peter Finch won the Oscar for Best Actor for this role. Died after production of the movie. Won the Oscar
Unrelated.
Posthumously. And he goes on the air and he loses his mind and shouts, "I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore." And he instructs the audience, because his whole thing is like, I see through it all, man. Everything's bullshit. No one else will tell you, but I'll tell you, it's all bullshit. And it sounds really cool, although he's not really saying anything.
He's not saying anything. He's just proselytizing.
Which I think is brilliant.
Yeah. He's not giving any specifics, but he starts to. He does later,
yes. But when he gets people who are mad themselves, and this is after Watergate, this is after, as we're getting out of Vietnam, there's an oil crisis, there's stagflation, and the country is just in the doldrums. Can you imagine a depressed country?
I could not. They really had it rough.
And he's like, "You're mad, right? All right, I want you to open your window and yell, 'I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.'" Mm-hmm. And it's a brilliant phrase because it's kind of silly. You feel good shouting it. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't say what you're not going to take or what you're going to do about it. And I felt like that right there is Twitter, or it's just social media. I'm just going to go post.
It was a meme. He made something go viral.
He did. He made something go viral. You could open up your windows and hear other people shouting it themselves. Right. But it was a way to make you feel like you're doing something without actually doing anything, which is another thing that in this Hate Inc. book
Slacktivism
that I read about is this actually makes you like less politically dangerous the more you're watching and getting outraged, the more the less threatening you are to the status quo, because the more you are in the bubble that the corporations made for you, and the less they have to feel like you're going to go outside of the acceptable bounds of acceptable discourse or debate or choices, and you feel busy, like you're engaged, like you're doing something. You're not
mentally and emotionally exhausted.
Yes. Exactly.
Right, because they're constantly giving you releases of that stress hormone that make you just burst with fucking yelling at nothing and yelling at your mom. And every time your mom comes to visit, you have to have a fucking talk with her. And like,
yeah. And you're like, no, I'm going to debunk QAnon. But actually, everything you say about QAnon just makes them like more believe QAnon more. I'm like, every argument I've had with my mom just makes her entrench her position more on what she believes. These things have been,
It's
showing through science is like you can debate somebody and you can prove your case and you can show evidence and you can get somebody to say you're right, or like the thing I believed is wrong. You show me the evidence that I'm wrong, but it doesn't change how they actually feel about it.
Right.
They'll still feel like they were right. The feeling because feeling is more important than your actual thought. And they'll just double down and entrench or find something or find some way to explain it away.
It's kind of brilliant to separate families with this sort of thing too, because just genetically, animalistically, we feel intense love for people we are related to, or we're more inclined to want to take care of them and love them and whatever. And so if you can divide that with things like the news and religion, and I'm just saying, break up the strong thing first, that really starts separating people and making them less powerful. Can you imagine if like your entire family were really into one political thing or wanted to change something? I just feel like
that would be dangerous. Like that family can do stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, a Marxist reading would say they want the classes divided so that they never realize, oh, we all have shared interests and we all need to rise up against our oppressors.
Yep.
But if we're throwing rocks at each other, we'll never realize who the actual enemy is, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, you've also got William Holden as the old school news director. He's best friends with Howard Beale. He gets fired. He starts an affair with Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway is the programmer. And
who
her
is really turned on all the time and very much turned on by showbiz.
Yeah.
Or just sensationalism.
Her job. Doing a good job. She knows she's so good at this job. But the big, this movie has a lot to say about the way networks are run, the way news is run. And the big thing, her big innovation is we're going to develop your news show like it's an entertainment show, like it's a scripted show. So I'd say that's a pretty prescient thing. I mean, when you read about how, like Fox News has its sexy lady hosts with their blonde hair and has the clear desks and you can see their legs and stuff. And everything from the way people are seated at the panels to the chyrons to the graphics. To the way everything feels like you're watching a sports pregame show.
I just figured the sports pregame is
way more entertaining than it is the news. You should not be entertained by the news. You should be bored by the news. Robert Duvall is the head of the... It's confusing what all the people are and what all their roles are.
It helped me really understand it once you compared it to 30 Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that. Like, this guy's Alec Baldwin.
That's Tina Pie. That's Tina Pie. That's how I talk.
And I don't know.
It's a very meta movie. It's a movie inside of a movie. It feels like it has multiple personalities.
Why do you say that? Because I don't agree.
Because
I don't agree specifically with it being
the
meta.
Narration of it feels like it's from like some sort of gumshoe like detective movie or whatever, and then it goes into then it goes into this outrageous news situation, and then it flashes to like these intimate love scene, and then it goes to the people being very descriptive about what's happening with them at that very moment. Like, for instance, when the guy that starts having the affair with Faye Dunaway, who's married, who then goes and tells his wife that he's having that affair, and then they start talking about how, well, here's how me and this woman I'm with are going to break up, and this is going to happen. And it's just very like, why are you telling the woman you just broke her heart about how you're worried that you're also going to get your heart broken from this person? And here, don't worry, I'm probably going to come back to you because here's how it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
they're talking about the plot of the movie.
That specific character does that. He's.
But they're literally talking about the plot of the movie that we're going to see later.
It's like
because everything's scripted.
He's like frustrated with the fact that he's living a TV cliche. I guess the reason I would disagree with it being meta is this is not a movie about movies. This is not a movie about itself. It's about TV. But if you want to say it's a movie about storytelling,
I want to say it's a movie about entertainment.
Yeah. He is frustrated that he's living out TV cliches. He says when he breaks up with Faye Dunaway, this is when the man realizes it's time to return to his wife. The status quo has been restored. The audience at home can feel good. Scenes from next week's episode. Here's ads, buy cornflakes. That's my least favorite part about the movie, actually.
The romance,
the William Holden stuff I thought was,
yeah,
I didn't like it. I thought it was like very high. Like I could see like the writer of the movie just jerking off while he's like, you young woman don't understand the importance of the news and the dignity. We used to have something called, like heart or empathy or whatever, or common decency. But you'll never know love. You're nothing but a small woman. Is just annoying. And I don't know where it fit in this story about a network.
I mean, just everything being so shallow and surface and unimportant that long-term 30-year-old marriages don't matter. And this passionate affair that you left that marriage for actually doesn't matter. And this man's constant fading and passing out doesn't matter. And his imminent suicide doesn't matter. Just matters that you get him off the air and don't let him embarrass you. And then everything is treated like, it's a million things in this movie that could have been the big peak moment of any other movie. And they were just treated like, and next, what's next? How about next? It's a very insatiable appetite, the whole movie. You're just devouring up human moments.
Well, because that's going on the whole time, I feel like I don't know why it has to keep finding room for this this human drama.
Well, I feel like they made it very not dramatic. I think that was the point. Like if they can make life and death and careers not dramatic, why not also show why marriage and people who say they're in love don't matter?
Because it's spending so much time with this couple and they're arguing.
I don't think it did.
Whereas if it were doing what you're saying it was doing, it would be much more like montagey.
No, that would go by too fast. You have to spend time in each thing. I feel like it did not spend. It spent like 25%
I don't have a stopwatch.
of the
I feel
movie,
like most of the if you had to say what storyline takes up the most real estate in this movie, I think it's the William Holden Faye Dunaway stuff, and that's the thing that has the least to do with what the movie is trying to say.
Yeah, I feel like they could have spent more time on that army that ends up assassinating someone on TV.
Faye Dunaway hires a Symbionese Liberation Army type extremist group, communist guerrilla group, and the joke is like they're such, they're communists and they hate like money and the establishment, but they're like so happy to take meetings with network execs and
they
debate their contracts
right.
And they talk exactly like the TV people talk, and everything's that too is like everything is becoming
everything already is. And if you trace everything back to what is the reason and why is anyone driven to do anything, and no matter how unique or passionate they seem on TV, it's always just about money. Just follow the money. Or, just follow that person and you'll find that they're just walking toward money. The only person that wasn't true of, it was a psychotic person. Mm-hmm. He wasn't off there going, money, money, money. He was literally cracking up and having breakdowns on and off the air, and he needed help and no one helped him. He was wandering around at night in the rain alone.
So he goes on TV and he says, I have something to tell you. The parent company that owns this network is about to be bought by a shell company that's owned by Arabs.
This is when I thought I was on acid. This whole part.
Yeah. It does sort of come out of nowhere, and
this nothing character, this just good old boy who for some reason owns a TV network, which you can't really understand why, because he's got one line in the entire movie until this crazy scene happens.
This is Ned Beatty, and he's the chairman of the board of the parent company.
The big conglomerate that buys a TV channel for some reason.
Yeah, and you see him, and you're like, this is just some Texas oil man or something.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about show business.
Like, yes, sir.
But then you realize, oh no, he's part of the fucking Illuminati or something, and he's buying up television because he needs to control people's knowledge of what's really happening in the world. Oh my God. And it's almost like what is the guy's name that's psychotic?
Howard Beale.
It's almost like he just stumped. Well, wait, but there's also that Donnie Darko moment where he wakes up in the middle of the night and he's talking to no one.
Yeah.
And he's saying how he agrees he's going to say that, and yep, he's going to talk about that. And that's the first time he seems kind of enlightened about something, because they've been calling him the blah, blah prophet because he was angry. He's preaching to the people who are already mad. So he's the modern day prophet or whatever.
Yeah, he's like a populist. He's like a William Jennings Bryan.
But then he actually turns into someone who's being spoken to from some kind of fucking
and in my memory,
mystic power.
They do like reveal that actually it's Faye Dunaway, or it's like somebody at the network who's sneaking into his house and feeding him this shit.
Oh.
But because he's crazy, he's going to think that, you know, demons are talking to him or whatever.
Right.
But they're telling him what they want him to say on the show. But he starts saying things that
But then he starts saying things nobody wants him to say. Right. Like he gets too close to the truth, and that's when
he gets called in to speak with Ned Beatty, the oil man, the chairman of the board, who, you know, he got nominated for an Oscar for this one scene where he's just like, "You have fucked with the forces of nature, Mr. Beale."
But even when he does that, he goes, "Was that good enough?" Like that is self-aware too. Yeah, the whole thing.
But this is what I didn't get, because I remembered that scene very well, and I thought like, oh, I can't wait to watch that, because I bet I'll be like, yeah, totally. Because he does say a lot where it's like, where I get my most conspiratorial, and I'm like, yes, that's all the world is. He's like, there's no more America, there's no more Soviet Union, there's just corporations and dollars. There's no democracy. It's just a bunch of companies.
There's the McDonald's states. There's Amazon.
Yeah. It's the Exxon Mobil with the private army that's can invest 40 years of foreign policy in various countries in Africa because they've got oil reserves down there, and we'll support a regime change here and blah 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 blah. And everybody else will let you all think that you have your democracy in your countries.
Right,
but
you run your little model UN and your little fake governments and have your little elections.
And he says all of that, but then he's like, and I want you to go on the air and talk about all of this. And it's like...
But does he say go talk about that? I think he says go talk about something very specific, and it's something... Or is it that? Like It
is, because his ratings start going down once he starts talking about this, and the network starts going crazy, and they're like, we got to get rid of him. And Robert Duvall says, we can't. Mr. Jensen says...
I remember.
Because he's saying stuff that Mr. Jensen wants him to say.
Yeah.
And so he's going on TV and talking about how there are no countries or democracies. It's all just corporations. Why would a rich person who's... Like, you would think like the oil tycoon would be like, no. Don't give away the game. Let them all think that they're participating in democracy.
Well, don't you think the reason is because he sent a crazy person, a known person to be having some kind of he could point to that person and look at his history and be like, you're going to believe this guy? So it's like
it's like a four-dimensional chess game going on in the background of this movie. I love that. That's my favorite thing you've ever said. Chess kiss.
Okay. So then anyone who starts preaching that noise later can be like, okay, so you're a follower of Howard Beale. Neat. You know, it's already got the crazy laid in.
What is the analog to that? There's like a...
I want to help you.
We'll let a crazy person go talk about this, and associating them with this thing will discredit the thing.
I want to say Scientology, but that doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I mean, in X-Files, before the movie Men in Black came out, there was an episode about the Men in Black, who've always been this like idea of government agents who discredit people who see UFOs, and they go shout weird things at you that they know you'll then go repeat. And then once you repeat them, you look like a lunatic and no one's going to believe you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that's what he's going on. And the people at the network don't understand that.
Right. Because he's already got
I don't feel like there's a danger of the world figuring that thing out.
I mean, but But the first thing he was saying, the thing about how the Arabs are buying up this and that, like, yeah, that is true. But for some reason that was too revealing. He needed him to go all the way with like skip step C and D and go to, because if you skip those other steps that explain how this purchase leads to fucking world domination or whatever, then you sound crazy talking about this last part. So like, okay, you're getting a little close, but if I let you take the trail and feed everybody the information in order, they're all going to go with you and realize that this is fucked up. But if I make you sound extra crazy by telling you everything right here and not telling you how it happened, then you sound like you've gone one step too far and all the things you said before get discredited.
It would be bad if my network fired you and then you went to another network.
Right, and they've already made that clear.
I'll make them decide to kill you without them realizing that I was the person pulling the strings all along. It's like when you realize, like, God helps people who help themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like,
totally.
God does his work when you never notice that he does his work.
He's like IT?
The point is, you're not supposed to notice it.
He's a ninja?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like IT.
He's like, yeah.
Just things work.
When I'm doing my job, you're doing your job. You get what I'm saying?
Working hard.
No, I'm saying I've done my job, so now you can do your job.
Exactly.
Work on your computer. Whatever.
That's what I said. Working hard.
That didn't follow.
There are these like billion, like Peter Thiel likes to go and like give TED Talks of how democracy is bad or like women shouldn't vote. He wants to go build an island where all the billionaires can live. That's how I took it. Like he was being sincere. No, I want people to hear my message. But if this is not a message that it seems like you would want people to hear. If you're interested in continuing to make money, why would you want to say this stuff? I love your idea. I love your theory.
Thank you.
We watched some local news today to try to.
Yeah, but it's a little bit it was less motivating or less inspiring because everything is a webcast and a webinar and a remote this and that. And it's like something about the polished part of the studio makes it feel more, well, obviously it's just, I need the conspiratorial part, where everyone's meeting in a room before they go out and talk about what they've decided are the best, most sensational things. But when in the time of COVID, everything looks so separate and apart and disconnected.
Yeah, but I was just because I never watch local news. I was hoping to like turn it on and see them giving like fucked up Sinclair broadcasting spiels or whatever.
But that's only fucked up when you see them all doing it at the same time in different states.
If you don't know, the Sinclair Broadcasting buys local news TV stations and then tells the local news desks, like, you can run your news desk however you want, but you are required to run this package of stuff.
And make it sound natural, bitch.
And then it's all like...
Fit this into an anecdote. Everything's a fucking podcast ad where, like, it's not supposed to sound like an ad. You're supposed to just build it in.
Right. It's with the idea being
product
like
placement in your mouth.
We've got a problem here. There are people who aren't watching Fox News. They're watching local news. So how do we get them? How do we get them hearing what we need them to hear? We'll buy up the local stations. That's a problem. Also,
you're full, Sinclair.
The hollowing out of local news is a terrible thing in general. Even at its best, it's just like heartwarming stories about like a veteran who helps like a homeless person or a kitten who does something
Usually
cute.
The veteran is the homeless person, unfortunately.
And I remember a few months ago when the pandemic started, Drew Brees, my beloved Drew Brees, announced that he said, Brittany and I are personally giving away $5 million to the people of Louisiana. And we're going to partner with Jimmy John's, which is a sandwich chain
that he owns,
that he has an ownership stake in, and Waiter, which is the food delivery service that's localized down here. Also, he has an ownership stake in that company. And the fucking media was just fawning him, like, oh, what a great man, what a great philanthropist.
Wait, how was he using those two things to
His
help
idea
with
was, I'm going to spend $5 million to deliver meals, Jimmy John sandwiches, to people who need it, and I'm going to use Waiter.
He's paying himself twice.
Exactly. And nobody asked any of those questions. Like, he went on Good Morning America. He went on
Well, but I mean, who
all
cares
the local
if he's
channels.
paying himself to do his own thing?
You should care because he's giving... You should
care because it sounds really stupid, but it's not like he's still donating something. Right?
He's moving money from one account to another. And he's getting all the...
But people are getting food from
the way foundations work is you
but
say...
But it wasn't a foundation. He didn't start a foundation.
He kept saying... No, the Breeze Dream Foundation. Oh. He kept saying Brittany and I, Brittany is his wife, are personally going to be doing this. I went to the Breeze Dream website. It did say... Brittany and I are personally committed to 5 million sandwiches to the people of Louisiana. Donate now. You click on donate now and it's donate to the Breeze Dream Foundation. Donate. That's what foundations are.
Yeah, asshole. You just said him and her were going to personally donate $5 million.
He's saying that, but he's not. He doesn't mean it. He's not personally doing it. His foundation is. That foundation isn't his money. It's
then why does he keep saying personal?
Because he's a liar.
That's fucked up.
He's getting tons of great publicity for himself.
Well, he also stuck his foot in his mouth at least.
This was before that. And people bought it and brought him on Good Morning America and said, this is the greatest American. And people cried, what a great person. I love him. I'm just saying foundations are skeezy and shady as shit. And his is no different.
If I started a foundation because I was really passionate about something and then all of a sudden money started spilling in, I would be so illegal with that money.
You're so right.
I would not know what to do. I'd have to write like a fucking report every year, and I'd have to have a board of directors. I'd be like, Mom, brother-in-law Elliot, board of directors, please.
Like J.J. Watt, the Houston Texans player, ended up raising like a shocking amount of money when he plays for Houston, when the Houston Hurricane Harvey 3 years ago was so bad. And I just remember thinking like, he's got to be terrified right now.
Right.
That would be a great reality show. We'll give you $1 million. Try not to commit a crime.
Maybe this is not at all like what this is, but like when I went to the neighbor's house to give them some like shoes I thought might fit their kid, and their kid opened the door totally naked. It's just like, I don't know how not to make this look illegal right now. I was just going to give him some clothes. That's just a coincidence. I'm holding clothes his size while he's naked in front of me.
How is that like this?
I don't know. Just so hard not to commit a crime on accident. Like, I'm not meaning for him to be naked in front of me, everyone. I don't know.
I seriously mean this. I would love for a reality for you to. I would watch a documentary where you give people randomly. Here's $2 million. You have to make a charity out of it. Don't do anything illegal.
Right.
You couldn't.
Well, you'd have to hire an attorney.
You'd embezzle it so fast. I would.
Like, I'm sick of holding all these sacks of money. I'm going to just put it in my bank. Shit! I wasn't supposed to do that. Yeah.
Foundations.
They're the foundation of charity.
Look into the shady shit Bill Gates.
People keep saying we should do a GoFundMe because, an autism support dog is like $40,000. You should just do a Kickstarter, GoFundMe. Like, if you give me $40,000, I feel like I'm also going to buy a car and a dog, and I'm going to think I deserve it. Yeah. This dog came it came with the boat. They delivered the dog in the boat.
Yeah.
You have to keep the boat because it's the dog's support boat.
The dog loves the boat.
It's the dog's support boat.
He's very attached to the boat.
Right.
It's a support boat. We've done enough.
All right.
People.
Watch the movie. It's very good.
A good movie. Not as good as I remember it, actually.
Oh, don't watch the movie. It could have been better.
It fucking sucks. We love you. Goodbye.
Yeah, I love you. Goodbye.
3, 4. Everybody, love me.